wonderful reception. I feel a little bit fortunate that you're not old enough to compete with me. It would be pretty tough competition, but I'm looking forward to voting for you one day, so thank you. Wow. What a wonderful reception, and thank you so much for the invitation to be with you. I've really been looking forward to this. First of all, whenever I join friends from the AAPI community, I know that there will be amazing food. I know that there will be amazing warmth. I know there will be that sense of welcome that is such a deep American value and that is a little bit fragile in our country right now. And so it is a great opportunity to model what America might look like under more just leadership. I'm flattered to have so many elected officials, including our state assembly and Senate members, county leadership. I often say that the county party is the unsung hero of democratic activism. So thanks to everything that you're doing in the county party. And thanks above all for the level of organization that the AAPI community here represents. You know, in Asian and Pacific Islander families, but really in all families, community and faith and neighbors and family connections. That's how we organize ourselves in the real world. And if we want to be organized politically, that begins by making sure that we build on the relationships that help draw more people into the process. And I think the awareness of that is one of the things that has made the AAPI community really in a short number of years become a true force and a very positive force in the Democratic Party. And so I'm delighted to have you at my side and to be able to continue spending time and visiting with you as we seek to compete here in Nevada, which, as you know, has a special amount of influence on the American presidency. And it's a good thing, because some demographers tell us that Las Vegas today looks like what America will look like by the time I'm getting ready to retire, around the time I reach the president's current age. Which means that in a campaign that we are so intent on having be about the future, I feel like I'm in the future when I'm in this community. What I'd love to do is just briefly share a little bit about what we're doing, although it's going to be pretty hard to top the introduction we just had, so I'll make it shorter for that reason. And then just get into a Q&A and talk about whatever is most important or urgent for everybody who's here. And hopefully we can visit a little bit before they take me off to the next thing. So what we're finding is that this message about freedom, security, and democracy is resonating coast to coast. We're not having to invent one message to say to one group and another to say to another group. We're acknowledging every part of our amazing democratic coalition where they are, but knitting it together around these shared values of freedom, democracy, and security. And freedom is so important for us to be talking about because I'm afraid it's been taken from us by the other side. People who think of freedom as though the only thing that can make us unfree is government. Therefore, the only way to become more free is to tear government down. And it neglects that basic idea of why we invented government in the first place as a species, which is to protect one another from the other things that can make us unfree. Whether it's a neighbor or whether it's a cable company or anything else that can infringe on our ability to experience true freedom. Which is why I believe that racial equality, that gender equity, that the ability to marry who you love, that the ability to make a fair wage and organize in order to be able to do it, that's freedom too. And I know that we're prepared to stand for that, and it will change the way people think about our party when we make good on those values. I know that security is something deeply felt in this community, and there's an understanding that security doesn't look like it used to. That security is more complicated. And not only do we need the military for security, but we also just need to be ready to stand up to the true dangers of the 21st century. That includes white nationalism, that includes cybersecurity threats, it includes attacks on our democracy itself. And of course it includes climate disruption, something that can ruin entire countries and will ruin the future of the generation to come if we don't act to do something about it. And we're ready to talk about democracy. Democracy that should be as inclusive as the values of this country. At a moment when, unfortunately, there is a political strategy, an active political strategy, to win on one side of the aisle by making it harder for some to vote. Almost invariably people of color and low-income people in our communities. This is why we got to fight to make sure that our democracy grows more and not less democratic in our lifetime. I also think we have an obligation to bring our own stories into this process. It's one of the reasons I'll be eager to hear about your stories, hopefully, as we get into the Q&A. Because for too long, we've allowed our politics to be played out in a way that takes away our humanity, especially this president, who just paints entire classes or groups of Americans with a broad brush so that we don't see each other as human beings anymore. And yet I've seen that we're so much better up close. We're so much better to people we actually know, people whose stories at least we can understand. And I think about my own story as somebody who knows what it is to pack your bags to go to war on the orders of a president, or as somebody who relied on Medicare to make it possible for my family to navigate the illness of my parents, or as somebody whose marriage exists only by the grace of a single vote on the U.S. Supreme Court. I have a story that is inseparable from the American story, and a life whose trajectory is inseparable from the choices that are being made in those white buildings in Washington, D.C. by the people we elect and send them. And I want to make sure that we continue lifting up the individual stories of people who are helped and people who are harmed by the policies that are being made, so that we can make this more human. Make politics the human exercise that it ought to be, rather than the show that has taken over in Washington. And when it comes to the kind of horror show that is dominating the attention of cable news, and that's what it is. And the thing about a horror show is it's very hard to look away. We have an opportunity to change the channel, but it's going to take incredible discipline, because the temptation will be to play the president's game. It's why last couple days he's been trying to get my attention. He'll try to get your attention with insults and name calling and breaking norms and whatever it takes to, as a schoolyard bully does. But when we're paying attention too much to him, we're not paying enough attention to one another and to the stories that help explain why those of us who care about a living wage, those of us who believe the time has come to deliver paid family leave in this country, those of us who believe health care is a right, those of us who believe that America is not America until we really make our union more perfect through greater inclusion and support for the equality of everybody of any race and any ability and any orientation and any gender identity. That until we do that, we are not the America we ought to be. That plays out in individual lives a million times a day. And we have an opportunity to change what politics is like by lifting up one another's stories. So that's a little bit about my story. But I'm very eager for us to have a conversation to address any questions you might have about why I'm running for president, or to share what you think it means in this community for us to have the right kind of leadership. So I'm going to suspend the monologue and begin the dialogue.